to Apothecary After Dark. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Apothecary After Dark, the official podcast of Amityville Apothecary. We are here with Samantha. Danielle and I are so happy to have her back, and you guys have a special treat. What do we have her doing tonight, Danielle?
So the new year is quickly approaching, and we said to Samantha, how about we do a look ahead? So let's do a tarot spread and pull a card for each month. And what are we in for? How can we predict the energies and just prepare accordingly?
I don't know about y'all, but I'm a little nervous because Pluto moved into Aquarius and the foot's been on the gas.
Pressure.
And Mercury is in retrograde.
And so is Mars.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really intense energy happening. So the more prepared you are, the better you can help navigate, or that's the goal at least. So we've invited Samantha here, and thank you for doing these card pulls. And then she's going to just talk about what she pulled and what the insight is.
Yeah, honestly, it was a good excuse to stretch my legs and marathon my third eye from here to 12 months from now. Because a lot of times when I do readings, I'm not always looking that far ahead. So it was a good practice round. It was also much better than last year. Because I can finally say it now, because I didn't want to fear monger. Holy shit, guys. I pulled the spread for last year, and I was like, how am I going to make this? Even remotely positive. How am I going to get on Instagram and be like, hi, are we all excited? Because I'm not.
Wait, but one of my favorite movie quotes is, but did you die?
Yeah, but did you die? And the answer is no, so we're fine.
That was intense, but we made it through. Yeah.
Pulling for this year, it was something out of a cartoon where I was like, okay, that's doable. I was just going. I was holding my breath the whole time. So I personally have been really excited for this Aquarius shift. I think that we all need to get a little bit more spiritually inclined, get a little bit more community inclined, get a little bit more inclined towards pushing us all towards a greater, higher collective. Yeah. So I'm here for the growing pains, as much as they suck.
Aquarius, it is...
It's a hard teacher.
It is on behalf of all of humanity. Yeah. So it's very forward thinking, out of the box thinking in terms of the astrological personality of it, which is very different from Capricorn. So,
right off.
I love them both. They have their appropriate time, but this is a major shift.
Yeah,
because it's very cerebral. I refer to the aquas as little aliens, space aliens, because it's still fixed air. So it's outer space. So it's things are a little unconventional, a little wonky. So going from
the rules are different.
Yeah, going from the worker bee of Capricorn, which is very much material based, to outer space. Yeah. It's a big shift. So
Capricorn is do you have a 401k?
Right.
It's money's not real, babes. It's super different.
Right.
So I think it kind of lines up perfectly, because as we're coming into this new age, it's so cheesy, but I love it. The January card, 3 of Wands.
Okay.
So quite literally, the 3 of Wands to me, it always makes me think of adventure. I always get the image in my head of, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, the scene in The Hobbit when Bilbo's booking it and he's I'm going on an adventure. And he's so excited. Yeah. That's what I picture. And I also want to remind us that it's an adventure. It's fun. It's exciting. Adventures also do get hard sometimes, right? So, be ready for it. I think Bilbo takes 5 steps out of the Shire before he runs into rock trolls. It happens. It happens, but it's fine. They get out of it. So, be ready for, all the ups and downs that come with it, because the 3 of Wands shows this person looking out over a long road and a long path, and there's they can see where they're going, but they're at the start, which I think is such a good card to start with January.
Yeah, that's a great January start.
January
card. Absolutely.
All right,
February. Here's where we might stumble a little. Not too bad.
But wait, doesn't February always sort of suck a little bit?
Always.
Because, you get
it's the winter doldrums,
and you get the credit cards from the holiday.
Yeah.
So you have the financial hangover.
Yeah. February is always stressful.
It's a little bit. bit.
People in relationships are stressed about Valentine's Day. People not in relationships are stressed about Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Everybody's in a bad mood. Like,
So who'd you pull?
So we have the High Priestess in reverse, which is a little like, okay, maybe we got so excited to start this journey in January that we got really grounded, really physical. We hit the ground running, which like is not a bad thing, but you didn't bring your intuition with you, bro. Like you didn't take your spirituality along the way.
Okay,
And, like,
but I'm going to talk what makes sense to me
Yeah.
is when people start their New Year's resolutions, they always start out really strong out of the gates.
Absolutely.
And then after the first few weeks, they're like, oh, wait, like this has to continue.
And
And,
then
they
you-
get discouraged.
and then you
or
treat
like,
yourself with like guilt and
yeah,
shame.
yeah. So then, like, you know, then the self-doubt creeps in and you start reverting back to what feels safe,
Yeah.
even if it's not what's in your best interest.
Yeah.
So
So-
that's kind of how I'm feeling.
Yeah,
that.
I take it like a little bit of like, hey, it doesn't have to be this way. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you know, exactly, hit the bricks, hit the ground running. But, you know, again, like, keep in mind that February might be a harder month for you to like keep your intuition next to you, which like, no, it's not. It's Pisces season.
Well, keep
Pull
going.
your head out.
Keep
Like,
going.
let's go.
Yeah,
Like,
keep going.
Meditate. Take some time. I know. Like we have all this energy and we're running and it's super grounded and physical. Meditate once a week. Meditate for 5 minutes. Who cares? Just like take some time with yourself. Because if you don't, and if you don't listen to me, which I'm telling you right now, which means you're choosing to not listen to me. Ask any of my clients how that works for them. So if you don't listen to me, March is the Eight of Swords. March is literally paralyzing yourself with overthinking.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 with the Eight of Swords, like your anxiety is valid, but also you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Like I'm always taken to, which deck is it? The Darkwood Tarot.
Yeah.
Her Eight of Swords rendition is one of my favorites because it shows this woman, she's tied up, there's a noose around her neck, and she's surrounded by swords. Objectively frightening situation. I'm not going to take that away from our poor damsel in distress.
Yeah.
But if she freaks out, she's most likely to fall and hang herself or land on a sword. If she takes 30 seconds to like, woosah, she'll be able to realize that the binds around her are really not all that tight and she can absolutely get out, take the blindfold off, step down and move on because there's no one there. It's just herself and her own fear. Like the Eight of Swords will often make me think of those pranks where people have someone standing on like a curb and they think they're standing on like a cliff.
Yeah.
Right.
And they make them
Yeah.
jump and they're freaking out and it's
Right.
like, dude, it's fine. Like
It's really not that big a deal.
You're drowning in the kiddie
Yeah.
pool. And like the kiddie pool, drowning is scary, but like stand up. Like,
Right.
It's
You're-
okay.
you're gonna be okay.
Like, it's okay. And that's kind of what I always think of with the Eight of Swords. So I think it's really important that, you know, we try to do those mental gymnastics with ourselves. Now, April looks lovely. So I think no matter what, whether we struggle through that or it comes naturally, I think we all end up in the same place in April, which is the sun.
Yay!
So
So happy.
it's like we figure it out. We get there. You know, the sun is all about like light. It's all the cheesy things. It's light and joy. It's a new day. It's a fresh start. It's like all of those. It's always such like a hippy dippy card for
But
me.
that's also
but in
when
such a
like
good way.
the flowers first start poking through the snow.
It's literally
it is.
spring.
Yeah.
Like it's so. It was. I used the floral tarot and it was so like warm and cozy when I pulled it.
Oh, I like
And I was
that.
like, oh my god, that's really cute. Because I pulled the Eight of Swords and I was like, oh no. Don't start with me. Like I was like, I'm not even 3 months into the year. Don't start with me right now. I didn't like the High Priestess in reverse, and then the sun came out, and I was like, oh, and like we
Yeah.
were able to kind of keep moving.
There you go.
Now, here's the thing about the sun, though. It's temporary. It's like a day. It comes and goes, and you know that joy. If we don't protect it, if we don't make sure that we give it space, if we don't honor it and keep carving out moments to feel it, then we're gonna run into the May problem, which is the Seven of Wands. You know, haters. People hate to see you happy. Like,
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, you know, we all talk about it. It's like, oh, I was thriving, I was figuring it out, and then all of a sudden everybody needed something. Or, you know, all of a sudden, you know, people started coming out of the woodwork. Well, yeah, of course that's when they come out of the woodwork, because when you're thriving, that's when you're useful.
Yeah.
So it's really important to keep that in mind, because whenever I get the Seven of Wands, I'm usually always reminding my clients that like you don't owe anybody shit. Like it's not your job to defend yourself in this moment. It's not your job to make your decisions make sense to other people. Even if people are making you feel backed into a corner, which I tend to find again, you know, you have these moments of the sun of healthy selfishness. You know, the people that are benefiting from you compromising yourself are not going to like you going into this like sun period.
Right.
So it's really important that I think we keep that in mind in May, that like, you know, we don't let people try to like force us into a way that doesn't feel right.
Boundaries.
Yeah,
Keep boundaries. Yeah.
Boundaries. And it's a weird thing of like defend it, but that's like not the same as fighting.
Right.
It's like plant yourself like a tree, to quote Captain America, plant yourself like a tree and tell them to go around you. Like, and
that.
have it be, that's what that time's for. And if you do it, if you stick with me, we get to June, and the way that I cracked up when I pulled this, because I used the Mythos Tarot, and it's my birthday month, which is why I used the Greek Tarot.
Yeah.
Aphrodite popped out.
Of course.
So we got the Lovers for June, which is so sweet. You know, which also makes a lot of sense. You know, we have April, the sun, all this joy. May, unfortunately, all the light of the sun is going to make all of those shadows really noticeable and really clear. If you lean into the Seven of Wands with those boundaries and with that like knowledge of yourself, then guess what? Everything that remains come June is the relationships that matter. Like the Lovers is like true, genuine connection. The people that love you and are here for you.
Right.
Because like I said, you know, if people who love you have been benefiting from your self-compromise, they will want to learn how to adapt around you changing that. Even if it's uncomfortable and weird, they will want to learn how to do that for you.
Yeah.
They will want to learn how to like reaccommodate so that you are not compromising yourself anymore.
Right.
They'll be like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, duh. And like, that's the Lovers. Like, it's going to bring you into that place. And then July is strength. So like we're just keeping the energy, which is great. You know, through
Perfect for Leo.
It's so good for Leo season. And I think it's like, you know, through the energy of the Lovers is where we find, not to be really corny, but like our strength. I think it's really building back up anything that maybe got a little rickety during that Eight of Swords, Seven of Wands moment.
Yeah.
It's, you know, your people kind of coming around you and building you up. And then we have, again, still community, which, surprise, surprise, one of the first years of Aquarius is all about community. August is a Three of Pentacles.
Yay.
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
Teamwork.
Like, it is get together with your community, work together. Now is not the time to go rogue. That was Capricorn season.
Yeah.
Grow up. Join the group effort. Like, get into
Collaborate,
things.
yeah.
Collaborate. This is where it's gonna, like, push and push and push. Like, again, there is a time to do things by yourself. There's also a time to just be around people. I don't like to be around people, but like,
It's
to
summer.
do it.
That's a great time
It's
to
the
like
summer,
get together
exactly.
with
It's
them.
August. Like, it's like collaborate. You'll honestly, a lot of these collaborations are probably going to be opportunities for you to make some money, for you to like build your future, because you know, the coins, it's not just about our money, it's our careers, it's our network. It'll really like help you expand and grow. And also what I love about the Three of Coins is that it's just, for me, it's the gears lining up. It's efficiency. It's things just kind of flowing. Like when we get that really good place of Zen.
I always think of like many hands make light work.
Yeah.
And then, you know, everyone has their own way, so you learn from each other as you do it too. So it's all that coming together.
Yeah, there's so
Nice.
much like smacking over the head of community. The sun, the Lovers, strength, Three of Pentacles, boom, 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 boom. September is the Seven of Coins, which I love to see the coins build as we keep moving, something that I really love to see.
Yeah.
And it's very funny because the Seven of Coins, it feels like it's taking all this momentum that we've been building, like go, 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 stop. Relax. Like, give yourself a minute. You've been busting your ass. You've been in a marathon basically since May. So like by the time we get into like September, it's like, okay, chill out. Like, we've been running all summer. We've been making stuff happen. We've been getting stuff done. You know, the Seven of Coins, he's gonna be so mad that I'm outing him. It makes me think of a moment with Zach. That man dumped an ungodly amount of money into our garden when we first started building it.
Okay.
And then I watched him every single day for 2 weeks go outside and literally just do this. And just stare at the dirt. Like he could will sprouts into existence. Sometimes I think he's a little Howie in a way that's really weird, because sometimes I'm like, I feel like Howie would do this this moment.
For sure.
He would over monitor the garden. And I finally had to pull him aside at one point, and I was one of those moments where I accidentally said something where I was like, ooh, we should write that down. I was like, babe, like you just gotta trust that like you did a good enough job. You busted your ass. Now we just have to wait and see. And he was like, well, but like, I don't know anything. And I was like, well, yeah, like most of the growth happens underground and out of sight. And like, I tell that to my clients all the time now. I'm like, so many times the like growth that we need to see is happening underground and out of sight. And you just have to trust that you did a good enough job. And you have to like hands up chefs and
You
like
tilled the
situation
soil,
over.
you planted the seeds, you nurtured it, you watered it, and now the rest has to just nature
hands
takes
up,
its
relax.
course.
Like,
absolutely.
If anyone is a Jenna Marbles fan, you know about her too much gene, where she would do these arts and crafts, and she jokes she's a Virgo, so multiple times she's like, I'm a Virgo, I can't. And
I don't know that.
She's so funny, and she's doing these arts and crafts, and she can't stop futzing with it. Like, she can't just put it down. So she's like, wait, I need to add another thing. Wait, I have to do this. Wait, I have to do that. And then finally by the end, she's like, I hate it. I did too much. I hate it. And her boyfriend's like, you should have stopped an hour ago. And
So
she's
this is
like,
the time
yeah.
to just allow.
Just allow.
Yeah.
Don't too much it. Again, you really have to trust that you worked hard enough, and you really have to trust that like you did the best you could do. It's like when I would, put in a test and I would freak out about it for a week. Zach used to all the time. He's like, is your teacher going to magically spidey sense that you're freaking out, feel bad for you, and change your grade? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, here's the deal. He goes, you have 5 days until you get your test results back. These are the last 5 days that you have of not knowing what that grade is. You can spend 5 days panicking, and then you can get a bad grade, and now you're panicking even longer. Or you can just choose to relax, and if you get a bad grade, panic when there's actually a reason. And if you didn't get a bad grade, you stressed yourself out for no reason. Yeah. So just give it a moment. It's in the hands. It's out. Leave it alone. Chef hands up. And then look, if your panic's valid, there'll be a time to do that. And if it's not,
I think faith comes into play too, because it's so interesting. When you were talking, it makes me think about like our body. When our body's at rest and asleep, that's when it does the healing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've done everything you have to do. So just let it rest, and you can't control anything more. So just
absolutely. Also, because honestly, with October coming, we're gonna need it. October's the Five of Swords in reverse. So October is an ending, usually of a long fight and a long struggle. And it makes sense to literally have the put your hands up, you're done, stop touching it. And then October comes around and it's like, yeah, I wasn't kidding. See why you shouldn't have futzed with it? Like, it's going down either way. So, like, the things that you worked hard on that are going to bloom, they're going to bloom. The stuff that you tried and it's not going to go anywhere, it's not going to go anywhere. And you're going to find out in October. And there's no sense, bleeding yourself dry in September.
But that's such a lesson of October too. Yeah, right? That's such a lesson of October too, because what are those things that were asked at Samhain to allow to die on the vine?
Absolutely.
And sometimes you don't want to let those things die. You want to fight for it, and they cannot be fought for. No. They need to become the fertilizer for the new stuff.
That is not for you. Then that is not for you. Yeah.
It's not for you no more.
Yeah.
November. Here's the thing. Is the Five of Swords hard? Yeah. Usually it's difficult. It's a headache. Usually people get their feelings hurt. People tend to talk out the side of their neck. But with the King of Wands in November, it's like you shed all this weight and then all of a sudden you're standing 5 feet taller than you were before. Yes. Like, I don't know if you guys, either of you saw Tangled, the Disney. I always think of the scene when she's like, best day ever. And then it cuts to her lying face down on the ground like, I'm a terrible daughter. And like, that is probably how this might like feel a little bit after the Five of Swords. You walk away from this fight and you should be walking away, feeling bloody and beaten and tired, and you might for like the first 2 or 3 steps, right? And then the more you walk away from that, the more you're like, oh, okay, and like there's this return of your confidence. The King of Wands is powerful, capable, confident, charming, is like getting out there and pursuing his wants and needs, and like I think this version of you couldn't exist with these people that were around in May who were going to make you feel like you have to defend your very sunny, wonderful April. Like, I feel like, you couldn't be this person without these people making their exit or this environment kind of going.
It shed all that's not aligned with your highest good.
Yeah.
So like you're lighter to stand tall and like stand aligned with your passion.
Exactly.
That is meant for you.
Which is, again, so Aquarian.
Oh, I love that.
It's, to me, Aquarians really are like, may the bridges I burn light the way.
Yeah.
And like, it's so Aquarian. And I think
totally
that really
about
vibes
this.
with it.
Okay.
And then December is our 6 of Cups.
I love it.
So it's like, look what happened. The second you got rid of the 5 of the Swords, my King of Swords, like adult you is standing at its tallest and your inner child feels safe and guarded and protected and finally opening up for you to start leaning into your spirituality spirituality and leaning into that part of yourself. And I think it starts a potential really deeply spiritual journey for what 2026 could look like, which would make a lot of sense.
Wow.
You know, it feels like Aquarius, I think every year is going to pull us higher and higher. And I wouldn't be shocked if every year I keep pulling, if I start getting more of these, like the Star, the High Priestess, the Cups, like I'm probably going to start seeing these sets a lot more. I mean, we only have 2 coins, but we have the High Priestess, the Wands, like, you know, so many Wands, so many Cups, all these like watery, fiery oomph cards.
Yeah,
like,
and I think last year was a lot of reversals, was it not? It was a ton
half of it was in reverse,
year.
so much of it.
Yeah,
which reverse isn't always negative, but
it's
reverse
not
is
exactly
usually
forward momentum either.
Yeah, exactly. We're not always moving forward.
And Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto is the planet of transformation and death and rebirth. So
Hades
this is
getting to work.
Yeah. No, I think this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's like I said, I was pulling and I was like, oh my God, this is so much nicer. Like, I don't have to worry about, like, how do I make this sound positive?
Right. Well, I have a secret for you guys. And the secret is that you can have this for yourself.
Yes.
You can have a look ahead reading for yourself. I would say at minimum a 30-minute, if not really a 45-minute.
Yeah, to really get into it.
To really get into it. And Samantha can do that for you both either in person or virtual, over Zoom, over FaceTime. You can make the appointments on our website, which is shop.amityvilleapothecary.com. You don't even need to talk to a human being. And it's just an amazing thing to have the look ahead, and you could record it if you're in person, or the Zoom link, you could watch it again. So you can go through your year and keep touching base. Samantha's also going to be month by month putting these up, like, so we're going to start January, and you'll see the January card. We're going to start February on our social medias. And we might have some fun little spell surprises to drip through the year to go with these energies.
Yeah. So this is really a great way to prepare as we enter into the new year. So really think about, what are your goals? What are you hoping to accomplish? What is aligned, or what does success look like for you? And if you map it out in accordance with the energetic predictions for the year, you can be so much more equipped to navigate that journey.
Yeah.
So
or like, if while we were talking, if anything I said, you were like, oh, I have a thing. I have this thing. Oh, I have this. Come in. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, let's go a little deeper into how it affects you personally. Because, you know, we'll consider both. I'll consider the pull for the collective. I'm also going to consider, you know, general astrological movements, your personal placements and what that means. And then also just the cards we pull for you. So absolutely, you know, it's just a good way to prepare. It's a good way, you know, I say a lot of times, you know, we don't know the future to avoid things. That is so very rarely how it works. Maybe that's the Greek pagan in me. But again, like, so often we meet our fate on the path we take to try to avoid it. So it's like, I think that's really not why we learn it. I think we learn it to prepare ourselves, to try to make the best of the outcome, and to try to, like, adapt as quickly as we can.
And what I want to stress to everybody that's watching, we always have free will. So there's energetic predictions and insight that we can glean, but we as humans always have the human experience and free will to decision upon these insights.
Yeah.
So, you know, somebody can say, hey, don't do that. That's not the best thing. And I would say, I'm going to do it anyway. So, like, there's consequences to every choice. Some are more harsh and some are more desirable. Yeah. So I will also say, for those of you listening, we will never proposition you and solicit you for a reading. We will never say, hey, Grand Rising, I feel called to give you a reading and remove this hexpert. That is not what any legitimate practitioner.
Reader worth their salt.
Correct. So please, as we talk about these topics, we are very sensitive to people who may be vulnerable, and we do not want you to be preyed upon, so use common sense. Please, and do not just send money to people that are trying to solicit you. That is not any practice.
Double check, vet your readers, make sure you know who's reading you.
Correct.
But yeah, like, you know, as like Jane said, the future branches, it changes. It's like a tree. It's like tree roots. You know, it goes a million ways. I can't tell you how many times I'm doing someone's past life, and this is going to sound a bit dramatic, but sometimes it's like, where did it go wrong? Like, where did the problem happen that's causing the karmic cycle that you're repeating in this life? And sometimes I'll go back and it's like, oh, because all the cards lined up for them to go this way, and then for some godforsaken reason, the dumbass went left instead of right, and now there's like a whole ripple effect that's having, and now you have to clean up their mess. So we have free will. So, absolutely, sometimes, if something doesn't feel right, if something doesn't sit right, you got to go with your gut, you got to go with your tuition. I have people who call me and say, I messed up, you were right, I should have done what you said. And I had other people who called me and they're like, hey, I didn't do it your way, but I'm still not mad at how it went. And okay, that's it. Like, it's not about me being right. It's about you finding your peace and your way forward. Like, that's really it.
And that's all really... That's all you could hope for a reading,
that's really
right?
You're going to learn.
It's for you to find your way through this crazy experience.
That's really it.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode. Remember to like this podcast. Please share it with your friends. This is something that is a love of, it's a love and it's a service. We want to bring these episodes to you. So if there's anything that you're interested in, let us know in the comments what it is that you'd like to see next. And as always, stay safe out there. And
bye.
Thanks so
let's
much.
make 2025 amazing.
Better than this one. Better than 2024.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to us today. We look forward to connecting with you again soon, so be sure to come back for the next episode.
And make sure to follow us on social media. It's the fastest way you can get in touch with us at Amityville Apothecary, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And of course, subscribe to this podcast. We are eternally grateful for your support.